all the members of the public who are here to join us. I'm Ryan Schriever. I'm one of the moderators. I've lived in Mapleton, thank you, since 2013. That's 12 years. I grew up in Springville, so back in those days, Mapleton and Springville felt like the same community, at least to the people in Springville. The people in Mapleton probably disagreed with that. But I am happy to be here tonight with my friend and co-moderator, Jason Nakas.
Jason Nakas. I was born and raised in Springville also, and have been a resident here for 20 years. I've been active in PTA and substitute teaching. If your kids know Mr. Nachos, that was probably me. And just really excited to be here to help out here tonight. We were pretty sure they thought we were qualified for this because Ryan's been an attorney for years, and he's done hundreds, thousands of mediations. I was qualified because I substitute taught elementary and taught junior high, and so if they get out of control, the quiet coyote will get you, we'll quiet you down. So, so the candidates have been assigned a random sitting order. We'll have questions based on 5 categories: public safety, growth and development, infrastructure, budget and finance, transparency, and communication. In each category, candidates will be asked a question. These will be different questions for each candidate, except for one segment. We're going to have the same question for all of them. Candidates will have typically 1.5 to 2 minutes. We'll let you know with each category. To respond to each question, please keep an eye out for the timekeeper, Camille right here. She's really mean, so make sure you pay attention. A yellow card will be shown when you have 30 seconds left, and a red card when your time is up. Please be respectful of our time and each other's time. When your time is up, please stop speaking and end your response. We forgot the blowhorn to really cut you off, so you're just going to have to play by the rules. At the end of our questions, each candidate will be given 2 minutes each for closing statements. We ask that you hold your applause until all candidates have finished answering their questions in each of our categories. This will help keep things moving along and ensure that we are able to hear each of the candidates' answers. Let's begin.
Oh, and one other thing, you've got you seated in a randomly selected order. We're also going to, in each section, move the first person that answers. So, Jake, you won't always be the first person answering the question. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, you're supposed to ask that first question.
Oh, am I asking the first question?
Yeah, right.
Oh.
I was doing that, huh?
This is how organized we are.
Yeah, we really put some thought into this. Okay, we're going to have a couple of minutes for each candidate. Go ahead and tell us who you are, what your background is, and why you are running. We'll start with Jake. 2 minutes. 2 minutes.
Can they stand?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Thank you. We do want this to be a fair opportunity for everyone to hear from each of the candidates equally and to see them equally. So if there are any issues, please let us know.
Good evening. My name is Jake Lake. I'm excited to be here and also terrified to be here. I've been in Mapleton for 19 years. I love Mapleton. I love this community. I've always been the more service type, behind the background service, in a service-oriented capacity here in Mapleton. My background, I have 4 teenagers. We love Mapleton. I've raised all 4 kids in Mapleton. My wife and I got married in here and met in Mapleton. I love the mountains. I wake up every morning, I look out my window and drive to and from work, and I'm amazed that I get to live in this great community. I have a background in construction, but early on my service started in the Utah Army National Guard. I spent 8 years as a member of the 141st Military Intelligence Battalion, serving out of the Orem National Guard building. I loved my service in the military. I loved my country. I loved the hard work, the discipline, and the leadership skills that the military taught me. One of my roles here in Mapleton, I served on the Economic Development Committee. It was a small committee that didn't last very long. We were trying to bring some economic development and growth to Mapleton in the early 2010s, 2012s. And then from there, I served on the Planning Commission. I spent 2 years as an alternate member on the Planning Commission, and then later 4 years as a full-time member of the Planning Commission. I loved serving as a Planning Commission member. I loved being able to help shape and make recommendations to the city council for growth, development, and different things within the city. The last 5 years I've spent as an executive committee member on the Pioneer Day celebration. We just got done with Pioneer Days. I hope you all had a great time. It was a lot of fun, a lot of work, and we love serving the community and bringing a great party to the city. I just want to keep serving my community. I love Mapleton, and I love where I live, and I'm excited to be in this position to run for city council. Thank you.
Thank you. Angela Silva?
My name is Angela Silva.
Oh, yeah, we guess we need to reset the, reset the timer.
Okay. You're okay. I'm still Angela Silva. I grew up in upstate New York and then went to high school in Wisconsin. 36 years ago, I moved to Utah to go to BYU, where I graduated in philosophy. My husband and I bought our first house in Spanish Fork, and we lived there for 20 years. We were at the mouth of the canyon, and we could almost reach out and touch the boundary of Spanish Fork, Mapleton. 8 years ago, we bought a house on the north end of town, and we love it. Sometimes I like to imagine that the cherry trees we have on our property are part of the old Carnesecca orchards, because they're amazing and wonderful. My main role over the last 30 years has been to be a mother. I have 8 sons, and you're all wondering, I don't have any daughters, just sons. So I have a specific talent that way. I spent the years, if you have kids, you know that no one is just a mom. I've spent the years volunteering in lots of ways, from school community councils and PTAs to advocating for and against state education programs, to attending local, statewide, and global policy and advocacy conferences like the UN's status on the Commission on the Status of Women. 10 years ago, I formally organized a nonprofit. It's an educational nonprofit, and we offer classes once a week to 75 kids who are ages 12 to 18. I care about transparency, purposeful planning, and actions that prioritize the public as a whole rather than specific interests. I care about that so much that I got involved in the general plan update, and even participated in updating some city code to make it more clear and reflect the desires of the people around me. There you go.
Right. Thank you. And as soon as we get the okay, David Smeldone will have you. Yeah.
My name is Dave Smaldone, and my wife Sonia and I have lived here in Mapleton. Okay. My name is Dave Smaldone, and my wife Sonia and I have lived here in Mapleton for 12 years. And prior to that, we lived in Springville for 12 or 13 years. And I want to thank everyone here for this opportunity, the city and then also the other candidates. It's been a pleasure to really meet everyone here that's running. We lived in Wyoming prior to our time in Springville. My background, we have 6 children and 10 grandchildren, and they're kind of spread out. We have 1 in the Netherlands, 1 in Florence, Italy, and then 1 in Oklahoma City, and the rest live here locally. But I have an engineering degree by background, and I spent a good part of my career with Pacific Corp, which is the parent company of Rocky Mountain Power. And during my work, I worked heavy emphasis on with energy and the power industry, and with mining coal, supplying coal to the power plants, and learned a lot about management and working with people, and had to do a lot of things that didn't seem possible but yet we were able to make them work. So I wanted to do this to really kind of enjoy the challenge of making things happen that maybe are a little bit hard to do. So I really appreciate this opportunity, to be here.
Hello, I'm Casey Beck. I work for an intellectual property services and software company, and I run a nonprofit. I have 5 kids, ages 14 all the way down to 1. So Sunday mornings are a nightmare in my house right now. We moved to Mapleton about 10 years ago. After we were done with our BYU life, we moved to Mapleton. I grew up in Iowa, and I wanted a place as close to the Iowa culture as I could find, and that was Mapleton. We live on 2 acres in one of the only remaining rural neighborhoods of Mapleton. We have cows, chickens, and a pesky skunk that I can't get rid of. I ran for council about 4 years ago, and I'm running for re-election. I ran for a specific issue 4 years ago. Neighborhood was affecting my, development was affecting my neighborhood. We're all zoned for 2 acres, and a developer wanted to put 13 acres on an adjacent property. My neighbors and I, we had been involved in the general plan process. We used the general plan to fight for our case, and we studied the general plan and the city code to really learn the case and win the issue. I wanted to get involved because of zoning issues, because of TDRs, and I still want to be involved in that and protect our charm that we have in Mapleton. I'm very proud of the record that we have over the last 4 years. Mayor, council, and staff, I'm really proud of the results that we've had. I know that we can do better. The general plan has always been a guide on how I vote for development, parks, public safety, affordable housing, et cetera. When neighborhoods can be affected by development, I make it a point to go and knock the doors to understand how the impact is gonna affect them. I have a number of priorities, which include being right on development and public safety, and that's why I'm asking for another 4 years. Thank you.
Good evening, mate. Good evening, Francis Gibson. My wife and I have been married for 32 years. We have 4 kids ranging from 31 to 17. We have a 17-year-old who's a senior in high school. Between transport, he has a car, girlfriend, job, and he plays sports. So if we feel like we're already empty nesters, and so we're trying to figure out who we are with no kids. We moved here 25 years ago. October will be 25 years. I think I've been here maybe the longest of anyone currently serving or that's running for this position. 20 years ago, I was elected to serve on city council. I served 4 years then, and we made big decisions 20 years ago. You're sitting in a building that was not popular. It was a decision that we made 20 years ago, and we also made a decision to build a public safety building. Central Utah Water Project, which comes through, brought water from Strawberry. There are lots of decisions 20 years ago, and as we go through those different topics, it'll phase back into probably some of my answers, so I'll kind of wait there. But I want to run again because I think we're going to be at a point where other big decisions are going to have to be made. There are the little decisions about dog ordinances or animals or setbacks and property. Those are things that day-to-day need to be run, but those aren't decisions that I'm running for. I want to be able to look back in 20 years again, looking forward, what are my grandkids going to have 20 years from now? And how is it going to look different than from today? We live in a great community and a great spot. I commend all of these people for running. I don't care if who's elected. Anyone who's willing to put their name out there for scrutiny, I admire them. It's the man in the arena. And I'll stop there. Thank you.
Good evening. Thanks for being here. My name is Melanie Bott. I agree with Francis. There are some great men and women up here that will do a great job. I have a privilege of having my name on the ballot as well. A privilege to be here with you this evening. Thank you for sharing your time with us. So I come from a small town. I don't know if anybody's heard of Helper, Utah, Carbon County. And that small town, Phil, I was raised by immigrant grandparents and hardworking parents who taught me the value of family, connection, and community. And in every community that I've been in, I've made sure to participate, to be an active participant, not just sitting back and watching things happen, but being a part of that change, that growth. And that's what I put my name in as for a candidate for city council. I've had the privilege to work with the surrounding cities as well as Mapleton while I serve on the Springville-Mapleton Chamber of Commerce. I'm able to work with legislative offices, local city councils. I've had the privilege to work with several of these people up here to be able to see the growth in our state and in our city and to see where that growth needs to be. It's important for me to create connections because as when we create connections, we break down those walls that we're able to communicate better. And that's how we build a community, is that connection and that conversation. That's why I'm running. I've had the privilege of serving as the chair for the Community Preparedness under the Public Safety Committee, to be able to bring safety to our community, to be able to create events for our community members to get involved, to understand how they can be safe. And I want to continue that through serving on the City Council. I'm thankful for being here. Thank you.
For this next question, we'll give each of you 2 minutes as well. Ms. Silva, we'll start with you. I didn't ask if I could call you guys by your first names. I already called Jake by his first name, so I don't mean any disrespect or
I don't feel
anything
disrespected.
with formality.
Call me Angela.
Thank you. The question that we would like you to answer is, in 2 minutes, what are your policy priorities, and if you're able to explain to people how you differentiate yourself from other candidates, we would love to hear from you guys on your thoughts.
Policy priorities. Well, first of all, I actually love policies. It's a weird talent I have. When you're a philosophy major, you get to read lots of dense text and try to understand the arguments and the issues that authors are trying to communicate. But I think one of the there's a few policy things. The first is Mapleton's budget has grown, it's doubled in the last 8 years, which is to be expected with growth and with inflation and all the other things that we need and want. So one of the things that is really important to me is that we're constantly reevaluating priorities and considering how things have changed around us and what else we could be thinking of that maybe we're not. Getting a big picture view. Another is creating financial controls, because I think that's one of the ways that citizens can mitigate risk. Those risks come in embezzlement or fraud, like Vineyard has just had a problem with some of their financial reporting, and also conflicts. So those are some things. The ways that I think that I could help do that is that I've written bylaws for a nonprofit organization. I know how to do that. I'm good at asking questions. I think that it's really important that citizens ask questions and that they're engaged, so that we act. So that whether or not I'm on the city council, I will ask questions so that I can mitigate problems. Thanks.
Oh, yes. I wasn't clear on that. Same question for everybody on this round.
Let's see, I really like what I've seen with our city government the last several years, and I think, frankly, overall, I think they've done a great job. Am I on? Okay. I came to a city council meeting, I think it was in June, and I felt like it was very well run. It was a team effort, and I had already put in my name to run or as a candidate, but it reinforced that I want to do this. And what I feel like I bring to the table is that I spent a career in management, managing large operations that produce electrical power and producing coal to supply that power. And I think that's we're in a very good time in our country with with our current administration where they want to lower energy costs, and there's some opportunities there, And I talked to the mayor a little bit about that yesterday, and he's already kind of got the ball rolling. But I think that that's a real big thing for us here, and I feel like I have the background, or I know I have the background to help with that. Additionally, looking at our growth, and the way we've gone, I think it's gone good. Maybe we could look at just reevaluating a little bit, but not really changing the plan itself. So that just because things have happened so fast here.
I'd like to continue a lot of the things we've been working on over the last 4 years. The two biggest priorities for me are making sure that development is done the right way and that has minimal impact on neighborhoods around town. The second big thing is to focus on a South End fire station. Growth has come very, very fast, and I think we can probably do a little bit better job of keeping up with it, especially when it comes to public safety needs. I didn't know this was going to be the question, but I had a list of things I wanted to accomplish. No property tax increases, some pickleball courts reserved for Mapleton residents, progress on building the South End Fire Station and staffing it, grants and donations received to alleviate costs to remodel the city park and build the bike park and Evans Park. All those park projects completed. Budget prioritized for public safety, police, fire, EMS, and sidewalks. We just approved funding last week for 300 West, which is right by the school over here, and that's been a priority of mine, making sure that sidewalks are built close to elementary schools and main roads. Taking over 1600 South, Main Street, and Maple Street from UDOT and having sufficient funds. So in the negotiations with them, making sure that we have sufficient funds acquired for road maintenance and building sidewalks. We have a master trails plan, and so we'll be building out several hiking, mountain biking, and equestrian trails along the bench. Connection of Mapleton and Spanish Fork trails. That's in the works. It's been in the works for several years, but I think there's a plan B that could work. 60% take rate for Mapleton Fiber. We're right around 40% right now. If we do a little better, we'll have even more funds coming in and paying off the bond quicker. Designs made for developing parks at 800 North, 800 West, and in West Maple Grove. These are large properties that we have that the mayor and council and city leaders have worked to negotiate acquiring those properties, and we can make plans to develop them at some point. In 2029, 2030, which will be at the end of our term, updating the general plan and having a financial plan in place for the next 10 years.
Thank you, Casey. The power of incumbency, you know everything that the city's already doing, so that's awesome. I would agree with a lot of those things, but I think the main role of government is to provide public safety, infrastructure, water, sewer, electricity, power, and transportation. The transportation piece is to make sure that our roads are adequate, but transportation also means trails. I did not mention earlier I served 13 years in the state legislature. I think the thing that differentiates me from the other people on this stage doesn't make me any better, just says that I had a different assignment. But there are a lot of things that happen between the state level and the city level and how funding works. It took me 6 years to get $60 million for the new exit that's being built between 4th South and Springville and Spanish Fork, Highway 6. That exit will relieve a lot of transportation and allow us to come here. I've had a lot of people say, you know what, well, you only got the job halfway. We didn't get all the way into Mapleton. Well, that's phase 2, but it took me 6 years to get phase 1 and $60 million to get that done. I think how that traffic comes off the freeway and comes into Mapleton will be a challenge, and what will we do with it? But it will be a benefit to us. When we look at, Mr. Smaldone spoke about utilities, and I think, and I know that Mayor Hanks is currently studying as a different way to provide revenue for the city. I want to be able to do that. I want to be able to make big decisions, as I mentioned before in my opening, that as we move forward and we see what's going on in the city and as we develop out, that people are going to be proud to live here. When we talk about the south end, we are going to talk about that. I'm sure it's going to come at some point, a fire station. That was an original plan 20 years ago that the council made, that I was there to say, as we put our high density at the far south end of town, there will be a spot for additional fire station. And we will need that to be able to continue response times to keep them low as the citizens in the south end receive the same benefit from fire and EMS that we do here. EMS is going to come up later, so I have some more thoughts on that, but I'll follow up then.
Okay. I had the opportunity of meeting Francis over 10 years ago as he was serving as our representative, and he built that fire within me to want to be able to be a part of our community, to preserve that small town feel, to create sustainable and smart growth. So I'm excited to be sitting here with him this evening, along with others. My priorities, transparency, we've talked about transparency. I've seen the growth of transparency within our current city council. They have an amazing PR person who continues to make sure that people are updated. Is there more that we can do? Yes. And so I would like to be able to continue with their momentum of being transparent. Family-focused leadership, like I talked about earlier, a community, we are a family, and how are we going to work together? Transportation infrastructure that was mentioned, thriving local economy. My experience is with business. We own a business in Springville, and I've been able to have the opportunity to watch it grow from something small to something large and successful to serve our community. I have that background and experience. And as I have these priorities that I want to focus on while I serve as city council, I also have the skills and the knowledge to back that up. I would like to be able to use those skills to benefit our community members, to help us to grow smart. Growth is coming, and so how are we going to direct that growth so that we can preserve that small town feel? We are not small town anymore, but we can continue to have that feeling. We continue to grow smart. My biggest focus right now, I mentioned earlier, is public safety, community safety. Right now we focus on physical safety. I also want to bring in mental health. We need to make sure that our children, our family members, everybody have the skills and the tools that they need to grow and to thrive within our community.
Thanks, Ryan. Policy priorities for me, Mapleton's financial position for the future is a big policy priority for me. As a city, growth and development will run out. In the next 10 to 12 years, it's estimated that our growth rate will be built out. Mapleton will no longer have development. And so where will our income come from? The impact fees, the development fees, those are going to go away. So after that, income is going to be a big thing for Mapleton. I think as a city, Mayor Hakes has done a great job by implementing some utilities that are coming to the future for Mapleton. The fiber income, it's proven. We're getting our growth rate on fiber. The income is coming in. We're paying our bonds. We're paying ahead of schedule on some of those aspects. Another thing that he's brought up is the power. Spanish Fork has it. Springville has it. Provo has it. They sell their own power. Let's meet with these cities. Let's study. Let's find out how they're doing it and how we can bring that to Mapleton and how we can generate our income selling power to our residents. It's another great way we as a city can help sustain our financial stability for the future. Our commercial needs, one of the things that I think would be great in Mapleton is a grocery store. Will that sales tax solve all our financial problems? No, but I think it would be a great way to generate some sales tax, some income for the city, but also give us, our residents, a convenient to be able to drive 5 minutes down the road to grab a carton of milk or some eggs. So these local convenience and bringing sales tax to Mapleton is another great way to help our financial position for the future. And the second part of that question was, how will I differ myself from the other candidates? I will lean on my background in the commercial industries. I'm a general contractor. I manage large-scale commercial projects throughout the state and the western United States. I will lean on my background in managing budgets, managing projects, meeting with different cities, individuals to help bring contracts and these priorities and managing the money within my background as a project manager. And I will bring that same management skills and priorities to the city as a council member.
It's been great getting to know each of you. We're going to start in on this section is about public safety. We'll have 1.5 minutes for each question on this, and you'll all have different questions. But we're starting with Mr. Smeldone. Your question is, how would you support the recruitment and retention of qualified police officers and firefighters in a highly competitive hiring environment?
Great, that's a great question. In my career, safety was extremely important, and it kind of grew through it to where by the end of our career, we wanted 0 accidents, that type of thing. And I've seen the Mapleton, both fire department and police department, I think they're amazing. The things they do. A few years ago, my mother was visiting and she fell and broke her hip, and I was hoping it was going to be one of these deals where she said, "No, it's okay now," but it wasn't. And we called over here at the fire department, I guess, and within minutes, the EMTs were there, and they did just a terrific job, And then recently, our dog was on the path, and somebody thought she was lost, and they took her over to the police department. She was in jail, and I got her out of there, But I just want to compliment the fire department and the police department currently, and I think you have to make them feel a part of the team. They have to be part of it. They obviously have good leadership, and of course pay is always part of it, but a lot of it is just feeling good about your job and what you're doing. I know that for a fact,
Thank you. Okay, next question for Mr. Beck. What role do you see police and fire playing in building community trust?
I think Dave mentioned right there. Because response times are down to 5 or 6 minutes, that's the average. We've had many people come to city council meeting thanking us for making the jump from an all volunteer-led fire department to a paid staff, thanking us for the number of policemen we've hired over the years. We've been able to reduce times from 13 minutes about 8 years ago down to 5 to 6 minutes lately. But we're growing fast, and too fast in my opinion. The response time to the very south end is about 10 to 12 minutes. Over time, as more residents move down there, the average response time is going to tick up slowly and slowly. A third-party audit was done a couple months ago, and our rating actually dropped from a 3 to a 5. Chief Glasgow and Chief Jackson will be hiring another fire engineer, and this will help us get to a 4. But the audit was pretty clear that we need to hire more people. We need to put in a south station to get back to a 3 rating. Insurance companies, they look at ISO ratings. They look at a city's ISO rating for home insurance premiums. The lower the rating, the better the protection, and the better the rates. So public safety, fire, and police, we need to allocate more budget to them. We need to prioritize a south end fire station. Of all things we have to get right with growth, public safety is number 1.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Gibson, your question is, do you believe our current police and fire staffing, equipment, and station coverage are sufficient? If not, what would you change?
Thank you. In visiting with Chief Jackson, I think our police do really well. When I was on the council 20 years ago, I think we were paying police officers $12 or $14 an hour, and they were always being plucked away. I mean, this was 20 years ago, so I don't know what that would equate to today, but we've always seen that, and we'll continue to invest in our fire and our police stations, and our fire and our police officers. When I look at our fire station and our fire right now, when I was we built the Spanish Fork Hospital. I worked for Intermountain Healthcare. I'm in the healthcare business. Hospitals, running hospitals is what I do for a living. When we built Spanish Fork, we knew that hospital would only cover about 80% of the needs of anyone who came in. And those other 20%, meaning you were pretty acute, you had a problem, you would need to be transferred to Provo, Utah Valley Hospital. When we looked, we needed a paramedic. Mayor Hakes made a decision so many years ago to say, we're going to invest in our fire department and our people. We're going to do what we need to do to make them the best. They were the best. They are the best right now, currently. As we grow, we'll need to continue to invest in them. I have 100% faith in our fire and our EMS. We were the only ones in South County with paramedics, the only ones that I could trust to transfer patients from Spanish Fork Hospital over. Since then, Spanish Fork has invested in their paramedics there, But I would say that our fire department right now is very, very good. Does it need to grow as we grow? Absolutely. But I think currently, we're doing a great job.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Bott, how will you approach funding for long-term infrastructure and equipment needs like a satellite station, expansion of the existing public safety building, and additional fire trucks and ambulances?
Great question. So something that the current city council and the mayor have been working on is creating funding within the city, like the fiber that's out there to help bring the funds in so the city isn't hit hard by the other needs. People talk about bonding. Bonding, if it's something that's necessary, important, and needed to be done now, then definitely, and we want to do some studies and research and get community input, and that might be a possibility. It's really important to ensure that the community members are educated, that they have their say and their input, and they work alongside the city council and the mayor and the staff to find the needs within our community and working together.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Lake, as Mapleton City grows, what is your plan to ensure that emergency response times remain fast and reliable?
Thanks, Jason. Thanks, Jason. So to ensure response time remains fast and reliable, I think we need to sit down, we need to meet with Chief Jackson, Chief Glasgow, understand their needs. I know the topic keeps coming up, the South End needs a fire station. I think Mayor Hakes and the City Council, Casey and the rest of his council members have planned for that. That's already planned for, that's in the works. But meeting with our public safety director is key, understanding what his needs are, understanding what he needs. The police department is already out in the community. They're out, they're patrolling the streets. Their response time is pretty quick. I've had the unfortunate and the fortunate opportunity to meet Chief Glasgow at my house during a fire. His response time was incredible. Same with Chief Jackson's. Anytime there's a need in the community, their response times are great. But one of the ways that I would ensure that is to meet with them, understand their needs, and then get with the council, the mayor, and see what we need to do to financially help and support them.
Okay, thank you. All right, Ms. Silva, what are ways the public safety department can help prepare the community for natural disasters?
Well, I think that we have seen them come in after a natural disaster. Well, not natural, but we saw, I was part of the sandbagging effort after the Ether Hollow fire. They're phenomenal. The fire department found grants that helped us find sand so that people could have that for free. The community came together. We have the CERT program, which has gone a little by the wayside, but certainly we could beef that up. We have the emergency response system. I get texts, you all get texts, right, when there's a problem. I think one of the things on a personal level is when the ISO rating goes down, it actually affects my fire insurance. And then it's one of the factors that affects it. So then individual homeowners have to plan differently. So I think as a city council, as a city administration, we should be working to improve that ISO rating and make sure response times are lower or at least equal across the city.
Okay, thank you.
All right, we are going to have an individual question for each of you in the area of growth and development. As we all know, Mapleton is growing quickly, and that growth brings opportunities and challenges, from new housing to commercial expansion to preserving open space. Mr. Beck, in light of new state laws encouraging affordable and moderate income housing, how should Mapleton balance that mandate with our open space goals?
Yeah, first and foremost, for affordable, to make Mapleton more affordable, we can't pass any property tax increases. That's my opinion. Affordable housing is obviously a big topic in the state of Utah, nationwide, of course. I personally wish we didn't feel that we had to go to government for all the answers. I think there's a lot of answers that are based on the markets. There's 190,000 units that have been approved by local governments. Developers are sitting on those because the market isn't right for them yet. For the business, they'll make business decisions about when to build those. Members of the state legislature, not Francis or Stephen, they keep on having rumors and taking zoning away from cities. This is absolutely the wrong thing that should happen. We need to keep zoning at a local level. Local government is best served by local representatives. State legislatures have talked about taking political cover away from us, or from us. They've talked about how a lot more affordable housing can be built if they take on that issue outside of local government. The general plan, which was done 5 years ago, addressed this topic, and all of us participated in the general plan, and how we wanted affordable housing to be accomplished was through ADUs, accessory dwelling units. We've submitted those plans in 2022, and just today, we actually have to submit annually, and just today it was approved by the state. So my plan is to stick with the plan that we've made.
Thank you. Mr. Gibson, some residents feel that commercial development is lagging behind rooftops. Others feel differently. How would you address any imbalance while maintaining our small town identity?
I think commercial development is something that's been in discussions for years and years and years. And for years, it was companies that we didn't have enough rooftops. And now we're starting to get enough rooftops where people are wanting to build. But there's a Harmons just across the railroad track. And I appreciate the fact that everyone would like a grocery store, but I honestly don't see that happening. With a Harmons just right there, why would another company want to come and compete with a Harmons 600 yards across the tracks? There are going to be other commercial businesses that we could potentially look at. What those are, I don't know. But I think Mapleton, with the ability to shop in Spanish Fork, or the ability to go to Springville and shop, and all the big box stores are there, my perspective, I don't know that I want that here. Those little bit of sales tax, what it's going to offset, I don't think that brings enough benefit for the congestion and the traffic and everything else that we need. We talk about a small town feel. Everyone wants Mapleton to be small and to have this small town feel, but yet we also want lots of commercial. Sometimes the traffic and the small town feel, that does not go together. And so I think we'll have to be smart in looking at what types of developments and what types of commercial activity we want to have. But me personally, I don't know that I'm chasing after a big box store.
Ms. Bott, Mapleton's general plan has strong language about preserving rural character. Do you think that vision is still realistic? And would you address that as the population increases?
Yeah, I think that's realistic. We would talk about the current city council and mayor. They work with developers as they go along to try to preserve that. They're getting land to help preserve that, the green space, to create that rural feel. They're trying to have smart development to continue to have that rural feel. As we continue to grow and we have to, meet the state laws and the regulations, we can do that smart growth to continue to have that rural feel. As we grow, we won't be small, we won't be as rural, if you want to have the definition, but there's always a way to continue to have that the feeling, and that is also, it goes right back to the community involvement. It goes right back to the smart growth, getting involved. We can continue working together. Input from city members. We have, like I sit on the Planning Commission. Come to the Planning Commission meetings. Continue to contact your city council members. Help them understand what your visualization is of rural and a small town. Keep that conversation going so that we can continue to grow, but also keep that rural feel.
Mr. Lake, land use decisions can get political, especially when they involve density or zone changes. How as a city leader, would you handle those cases with transparency and fairness?
So the general plan is there. The general plan has been studied, it's been redone in the last several years. It's there for a reason. So the general plan is our guidebook. It's something that we as a council, we as a planning commission, serving on the planning commission for 6 years, we use that general plan as our decision making. So when a land use comes before the commission or the city council, we need to take and look at that land use. Look at it and understand it. If they're coming for a zone change, if they're coming for TDRs, does it fit the zone change? Does it fit the TDR receiving sites? If these do not fit those, we as a council, we as a commission need to look at it and understand how we can vote on that to best serve the city needs, but also protect property rights. Transparency, as a commission, as a council, we need to be transparent and open. I think the planning commission, everyone sees cameras here in this hall. The city's done a great job by opening it up and putting it on YouTube. If you have a land use change or zone change that's in your neighborhood and you can't be here, you have the ability to send emails in to Sean, the city staff, to watch the zone change, to voice your opinion. I think transparency, the city is bringing that through social media and through our digital age. And as a commission and a council, we need to keep and open that up, but also use the general plan as our guide.
Ms. Silva, what role should the city play in addressing affordable housing beyond what's required by the legislature?
I was just looking at the Gardner Institute's policy page on affordable housing, specifically regarding accessory apartments, and we are actually doing great. The city has a surplus, which is something I think the mayor and city council have worked hard to create. I think that the role that the city has is to get rid of barriers to affordable housing and to be creative. To be creative in the way we approach what the state is asking us to do. This little power corrupts, and power, people want more power, and the state sometimes can be preemptive in taking away local control. We need to make sure that we have put systems in place that keep control here, and also recognize that affordable housing is an issue. I have 8 sons. They probably won't live in Mapleton unless they live in my house, which some of them do. But we need to be constantly thinking of new ideas.
Mr. Smaldone, if elected, what would you prioritize first? More housing choices, more businesses, or more open space preservation, and why?
Okay. Well, I agree with the comments on the general plan. I firmly believe that that's the basis of what we should be looking at. And we should be looking out, as Mr. Gibson said, 20 years ago or so, we built this building. And people, it sounded like people were upset. But we need to be looking out 20 years, and what are we going to do? I mentioned to somebody today, I had heard we were going to build the fire station in the south end, and their comment was, well, don't we need a fire station out west as well? And so, those are the type of things that we got to be looking out ahead and make sure. We know there's going to be growth. We know that there's going to be impacts. We need to make sure that we look at our plan, and then if we feel like there ought to be some changes, that's where the transparency comes in. Get it very open to the public and very out there to where people can see and make their informed decisions, on those type of things. But I think getting back to the power and energy is going to be a dominant theme, I think, in our future, that we have to lower power costs.
Our next set of questions, we're going to start off with Mr. Gibson. It says budget and finance. We're going to go for 1.5 minutes again. In what instances, if any, is it appropriate for the city to take on long-term debt?
I think, as I said before, the role of government is public safety, infrastructure, and transportation. All of those are which are areas that we do not have enough money to just come up, and those are the areas that you would have to bond for. I look at the infrastructure that's going on right now with utilities, that is actually a moneymaker, and that will be something that will return on its investment. To think that we're never going to borrow or we're never going to have debt, that is wrong. We will. We need to minimize what that looks like, and I think under those three circumstances, we should look at that. Some people want a rec center. There's a big, huge rec center being built in Spanish Fork. There's a rec center in Springville. Do we need areas for us to recreate? We do. But I think that should be something, should the citizens vote on that? If they want to take it on and build it and they want to vote for it, then I'd say let's support a bond to do that. But that should come back to the citizens to do that. Those are the three areas I believe that we should bond in: transportation, infrastructure, and public safety. Those are the three. That is the proper role of government in my mind.
Thanks. All right, Ms. Bott, how would you balance the community's desire for more or improved public services with the community's desire for low property taxes?
Well, you have to start with that conversation. There are over 13,000 residents, and so we need to make sure that we're getting their input as we make this plan to see and prioritize what's needed. Sorry, can you repeat the question?
How would you balance the community's desire for more improved public services with the community's desire for low property taxes?
Okay. So, again, I'm just going to keep using the city council current as an example, and that's one of the reasons why I'm running, is because I want to continue their momentum. We want to be able to create a city that is making money, that can help bring in money to help lower those taxes. When people moved to Mapleton, we knew that it was a higher tax bracket than any other city, but there's a way that we can utilize the resources and the connections that we can create as a city to help lower taxes and not have to raise them. We do want to have the conversation. We do want the community members to come to us and to prioritize the needs and then find the funds to be able to make it possible.
Thanks. All right, Mr. Lake, how would you ensure that the city is in strong financial position for the future?
Thanks, Jason. Strong financial future as a city. I think I brought this up in one of my earlier comments. As a city, our financial position is a priority of mine. Mayor Hakes, like I said, has done a great job with fiber. We're starting the communications with power. I think that the power conversation is our next big priority as a city. We need to start looking at how we can provide power to our city, not only to lower our rates for our city, but also to generate some income for our city. So being in a strong financial position for our city, that's a great way. And also to be able to understand growth and development and where we can best utilize those funds. Those are key priorities for me and ways that we can be in a strong financial future for the city.
Ms. Silva, if utility rates are not sufficient to fund future utility project needs, what options would you consider to bridge the gap?
That's always the question. We're always balancing needs, right? So far, we have utility rates that are sufficient to meet our needs. So sometimes I think we jump ahead and start worrying about problems that don't exist. One of the things that I think has been fascinating is the Mapleton fiber. It was a good solution. It also, the budget is balanced there. We're paying it back, and it'll be another 20 years of paying it back. So we have to constantly be thinking about if we do this plan, what will we not be able to do in other places? One of the things about city planning, I think, is yesterday there was a lot about business planning versus government planning. Businesses are worried about profits and market competitors, and governments have to worry about public welfare and societal needs. We have to make sure we have good drinking water, and we have to make sure we have plans for that. The city does, but we have to figure out specific ways to reconcile those things.
All right, Mr. Smaldone, what are your priorities when allocating the city budget?
Well, the priorities, unfortunately, you find out in business, and I assume in government as well, that there isn't as much, when there's this much of a budget, you might only have control over this much because there's so many fixed costs there. So I heard last night again, Mayor Hakes brought this up, that they have what he called a retreat and looked at the budget. So you have to really look at what are the priorities, and then maybe sound like broken record, but you got to go back to this whole thing of how do you create value or wealth. And I remember working in a county in another state where in one part of the county we had the operations going, we were making money, and they said, yeah, but all the money's spent in the other part of the county. They had the nice part, we had the part that was making money. In this community, we spend a lot of money. We bring in money through various means, but being able to look ahead over the next 20 years, we need to really be looking at how we're going to be making money, I guess, in this community, and that's an important part of what I think city's going to be moving into.
And let's see, Mr. Beck, what revenue options are appropriate for the city to pursue?
Something I didn't grasp very well 4 years ago was how many limitations are really built into our budget. Our budget is a third of that of our neighbors. And so with that, there come trade-offs. We have to make tough decisions on where to go. We have been blessed with a forward-thinking mayor that's had vision for Mapleton Fiber, and Mayor Hakes and other candidates have talked about power as well. I'm supportive of those revenue options, pursuing that. So we have to. We have to be creative. We have a staff that are very creative. They're very forward-thinking. They know our limitations. They apply to grants often. With every budget cycle, I always do two things. I meet with every department head to find out what didn't make into the budget, and then I always press for more funds going to sidewalks. Just a broken record. So with the trade-offs that we have to make, where are those trade-offs going to be made? For me, it's public safety. Public safety needs those funds, and I'll continue to vote and push for funds, more funds to be allocated to that. And as we develop more revenue options, we'll have more options to put towards the community center. I think some of the fiber money could go towards that at some point, but over the next 4 years, we'll be making plans, including a financial plan for a possible community center. But public safety, Southland Station is #1 priority for me.
All right, we're going to move on to the next topic, which is infrastructure and facilities. For this round, we'll start with Ms. Bott. As the city grows, so does the need for public buildings and facilities. What public buildings or facilities do you see as most important for the future?
Thank you. Well, what's already in the process is another fire station that it will be focusing on our south end neighbors. We want to be able to minimize the response time to make sure that everybody's safe and taken care of. And so it's great to see that that's already in the process. And so I'd like to continue to see that. We've talked about public safety. That's a huge focus. As we keep our community members safe, that's what they're paying their taxes for. We want to focus on their safety. That's right. Was there a second part of that question?
No, just what did you see as most important for the future? So if you feel like you've answered the question, you don't need to use all the time. Mr. Lake, what will you do as council member to ensure that the city has sufficient water for its long-term needs?
Water. Water is a big topic in Mapleton. There's a lot of water that the city owns. There's well houses that the city has, very good well houses. There's water from the canyon. There's water rights that get transferred over from the developments that are going on in Mapleton. So to make sure and ensure that Mapleton has enough water, the city's in a great position for that. There's a big state audit that's coming up that the council and the city staff is working on, making sure that we put our water in the appropriate columns for that is a big thing that the city's working on, and making sure that we ensure we have enough water for our current capacity and the current growth that we're going to have in the future. So as a council member, to understanding that, taking the time to learn about it, knowing where our water is coming from, knowing how the water is being spent and distributed to our communities, and also the excess water that we have. There is excess water here in Mapleton that we're not using and utilizing. There's an opportunity for the city to sell that water to also generate some income and revenue for the city. So understanding our water needs and how we can then transfer some of that water to other cities to generate income. As a council member, that would be a big priority for me, and understanding that and be able to plan for the future and plan for our current needs.
Ms. Silva, the city currently receives its power from Rocky Mountain Power. Would you recommend the city continue to use Rocky Mountain Power, or would you advocate for creating its own power utility?
I lived in Spanish Fork, and we did have our own power utility. I think infrastructure is one of those things that we're constantly robbing Peter to pay Paul in some ways. So we have to have a balanced budget. We have to put in new pipes for aging pipes in the drinking water system. We have to expand PI. I think that switching to a new power source, although attractive maybe, and perhaps a place where we could earn money, is not a sustainable idea right now, and may not be for a few years. We also have bonds that we have to pay back, and just like my mortgage or your mortgage, you're only allowed to get as much debt as you have collateral for. So if we've used it in certain places, we need to think about other options. I think switching to our own power structure is probably a want and perhaps a bit of a dream, but would take away from other pressing infrastructure needs and public safety needs.
Mr. Smaldone, funding for road maintenance is a significant need in almost all communities. How would you propose that the city enhance or improve its road maintenance programs and funding?
Well, again, I agree. Road maintenance is a key issue, and it goes back to the areas of safety, response times, for the both fire and police departments. It's a priority. So in balancing the budget, in terms of, I'd mark that in the safety category. So that would have to be a priority there. But it gets back to those issues of how do we generate income, and so if there's ways to generate income, those are the things that we need to be looking at, and anything and everything should be looked at. The stores, maybe some other community type things that could be done. Again, on the power side of it, even nuclear power in these small quantities could be looked at. There's a small community in Kemmer, Wyoming that had a coal-fired power plant, and they're currently building a nuclear power plant, a small nuclear power plant up there. The Delta power plant that was an Intermountain Power project, it will remain open, the coal-fired plant.
Mr. Beck, Infrastructure projects like installing a citywide sewer system in the 1990s or building a new public administration and public safety building in the 2000s require vision and commitment, especially in the face of public opposition. Is there an infrastructure or facility project that you would advocate for as a council person that could provide long-term benefits over the next 20 years?
Yeah, a Southland Fire Station. I know we've talked a lot about that, but there's a definite need. Our ISO rating was hit, so it's a no-brainer for me to push towards that. 3 years ago, we hired consultants to come in and look at all of our facilities. They took a look at each facility and the needs. They looked at the growth projections for Mapleton, and they made a tentative timeline and estimated costs for meeting the needs of our town now and in the future. So there's a sequence of events and infrastructure projects that they recommended. We have a lot of needs, from faulty sprinkler lines and electrical in City Park to a senior center that floods once or twice a year. So there's huge needs that we have, infrastructure needs that the city has. The facilities master plan that was made in part by the consultants, it's a recommendation on a sequence of events of how we accomplish that, and we built a Parks and Rec storage facility back here, which is step number one. Step number two, which we're further down the road as well, a new police station, police moving out of the existing station, remodeling the fire station. Step 4 or 5 is a new community center, and hence the survey that came out a year ago to get people's feedback on that. These are recommendations on how to accomplish it. There are different grants we can look at to accomplish these things, but the fact of the matter is that we have infrastructure needs. It's being carefully thought out and accomplished in a smart way.
Mr. Gibson, many citizens express concern with the lack of sidewalks in certain areas of the town. Where would allocating funding for more sidewalks fall within your priorities?
We've mentioned public safety, and that's one of the areas that government should be spending time on. It's public safety, transportation, infrastructure, and so I fully support putting more sidewalks. I've had many of you look at me and say, man, you look different. You can just Google it, I look different, but it's because I walk a lot, and I've made some lifestyle changes, and when you walk around the city, there are lots of areas where you have sidewalks. And if I live just across from the cemetery, and there's a park just across to the west of the cemetery. I live there in that little neighborhood. And if I walk all the way east, as soon as I get to the White Church right here in Maple and Maine, continue to go, I've almost been hit twice because I'm trying to walk on the side of the road. Same thing if I'm walking up 1600 South. Now I realize that that's a state road, and we have to do some different things to get right away to repair those. But there are certain roads throughout the city that we need sidewalk. I realized that we moved, many people moved here, and when I moved here 25 years ago, there was not a lot of sidewalks and curb. We're making developers do that as they put in new subdivisions, but there are older parts of town which require us to have sidewalks. Maybe not both sides, but at least one side, where youth can walk, adults can walk, and I would support allocating funds for that.
Thank you.
All right, it looks like we're back to Mr. Lake. This is about transparency and communication. We'll go with 1.5 minutes again here. How do you define transparency in local government, and how would you put it into practice?
Transparency to me is a glass box. How we bring transparency into our community, I think the city is making some great steps to bring in transparency in our planning commission and our city council. As I mentioned, the cameras, social media. The city does a great job posting on social media, city council meetings, planning commission meetings, things that are coming up for vote, our general plan, any kind of amendments, the RAP taxes that have gone through, being a part of the RAP taxes, volunteering to be sitting on that community. Transparency for me, as a general contractor, one of the things we pride ourselves in is being transparent. As a general contractor, you have a 16 CSI cost code budget. And in that budget, there's multiple line items from power, electric, plumbing, everything. There's two things that are key for me. At the top is the general conditions, and at the bottom is the profit. Everything else in between is open book. So I would take that same approach to transparency in local government here in Mapleton. It's a glass box. Everything is open. You want to know something as a council member, I'll I'll tell you, I will sit down and meet with the community. We'll listen to the community, be open and honest with the community. We shouldn't hide things as council members, as planning commission members, as the mayor. Be open and honest with the community members. This is why we're here. We're here to serve and make this community great, make Mapleton a great community for us to live in and continue to raise our kids in, and be proud to call home. So be open, honest, make it a glass box.
All right, Ms. Silva, how would you handle an item of business that comes before the mayor and council where you have a potential conflict of interest?
Luckily, I don't have any potential conflicts of interest, and I think that's important because it means I can serve the community without any worry that people might assume that I'm making decisions based on my self-profiting. I think one of the ways that you can handle a potential conflict of interest, well, a conflict of interest, it just is. It isn't that it's potential or not, it just is. Sometimes we think that if we have financial disclosures, that somehow negates the conflict of interest. But we may have those disclosures so that we mitigate conflicts of interest. I think we need to make sure that we follow Mapleton's good code on conflicts of interest and make sure that people who have those conflicts can do publicly disclose those in meetings, that they find ways to step out of the room if they can, that they avoid conversations about it. Government is a public trust, and people want to feel like they can trust the government. The more ways that we can mitigate conflicts, the better, the higher trust is in government, and we can just do the work that needs to be done.
Right. Mr. Smaldone, how will you engage with members of the public that may not be involved with social media?
Oh, okay, that's a good question. I think it's, well, frankly, I like to visit directly with people. I think that's a good way to go. And one of the things that was interesting to me is as I was in the one city council meeting, I wish there was a crowd like this, and I'm as guilty as anybody. I was there, but there weren't too many, you know. And I think it's a way. How can we encourage our community, I guess I'll say, to be more engaged? So it's pretty easy to throw stones when you don't know really what's going on, maybe have an impression or whatever, you know. But if we can really get the community engaged to where they're seeing, you know, what's really there, and you really look at the heart of the people, you know. I mean, if somebody's got some conflicts with something, bring them up, you know, bring them up to the city council and bring them up, you know, in a face-to-face way. I think that's the best approach, and it's always worked for me, you know, and in my both personal life and business life, you know. And I think if we can get more personal and face-to-face engagement, that's really going to be a big win for us.
Thank you. Mr. Beck, what ideas do you have to help the public be more informed on topics of community-wide interest?
Yeah. I think a little distrust of government is healthy and natural. Our country was founded on distrust of government and created a constitution because of that distrust. Here in Mapleton, it's a little different. We are neighbors. As elected officials, we assume an amount of trust from you, and we don't take that for granted. I know speaking for mayor, staff, and council, we've tried hard to be transparent and to get the message out there. We've hired a public relations director. Each department has a social media presence. We post signs around town. There's newsletters. I know some of the council members have their own Facebook where they, their own elected official Facebook account where they regularly post agendas and get comments. So we've been as transparent as possible. Every year there's a financial audit done, and in November we pass with flying colors. I guess it's a way of saying I'm not sure how much more transparent we can be, but we're neighbors, and so if you feel we can be more transparent, I would appreciate any feedback or any guidance on that.
Mr. Gibson, if there's a controversial issue in the community, how would you ensure all voices are heard before a decision is made?
I think currently Mapleton City is about to Councilmember Beck, his comments, we are about as transparent as you can be. And to Mr. Smolder, I remember sitting and having big decisions, and we were honoring a fireman or a policeman for something great, and it would be packed. And then the very next item on the agenda is a budget or something of importance or a subdivision. And as soon as we honored someone, the room gets cleared and we have 3 people. I think we can only continue to make everything as open and as honest as we can. I think there are certain times, I know that when I was on the council before, we would have open houses where we would invite people to come in, give us your comments, look at the plan, and try to collect as many comments as we could there. Transparency is a two-way street. I think everyone demands transparency up here. How many of you, just a show of hands, want us to be transparent? How about if I get an email from someone, you tell me who you are and where you live? We have a lot of keyboard warriors out there right now that want to post everything about social media, but yet they fail to disclose who they are. I've gotten a couple of emails in this race. I said, let me come meet with you. No, we just prefer to be anonymous. Transparency goes both ways. You want a council and you want government to communicate with you and to be honest and transparent. That goes the same way. Who am I communicating with? Tell me your name, tell me your address, make sure I'm talking to someone who lives in Mapleton.
And Ms. Bott, as a member of the City Council, how would you seek to improve public confidence in the council's leadership?
Like tonight, we've had a great opportunity to meet with each of you. As city council members, we're elected by you, and so having that open communication both ways, you reaching out to us and us reaching out to you. Education is a huge part to help you understand where the city council comes from, what they're doing, and what's happening in the city. It's important for us as city council members to educate the community members, but creating an open conversation, getting to know your city council members on a closer relationship instead of just knowing who they are and what their names are, reaching out to them, us going out and reaching out to you. When we have community activities, are we present? Are our city council members, they're out there shaking hands and talking to people. That's really important. So speak up, go meet your city council members, whoever's elected. Create that relationship so that you have that connection and that trust, so that when you have a problem or an issue, that you're not afraid to and you know who to go and talk to. It's so important that you know that we as elected officials, we work for you, and it's important to have that two-way conversation.
All right, this last section, we will have 1.5 minutes for each of you to offer a closing statement. The last time we asked an open-ended question, we started with Ms. Silva. I don't want to put her on the spot twice in a row. So we'll move down one more to Mr. Smaldone. Mr. Smaldone, you have 1.5 minutes. Please tell us why people should vote for you and what you hope to accomplish.
Well, as I said when we start, I really appreciate this opportunity to run as a candidate and for city council. And I feel like the council and the city government is actually running quite well right now. What I would bring to the table would be some background in that I have that I think would help us to look at maybe some other opportunities, and I've mentioned power quite a few times tonight, but also are there ways that we can reduce costs? Can we be more efficient? I know I heard about the work that was done up on by Whiting Campground up Mapleton, and I've heard that that's saved us some water, and so I think there's things. I use the old expression, 1 and 1 can actually equal 3 or 4 or 5. Are there ways that we can do things that can create more value for both ourselves and our community. And I think I've had that experience both in my career and personal life, and I'd like to bring that to the City Council.
Mr. Beck.
Just very, very grateful for Ryan and Jason for your help tonight, for city staff for putting this event on. Really grateful to you to come out tonight, and I'm very impressed with the candidates we have running for council and for mayor. I really think, however this election goes, our city will be in good hands. Being on council means listening to representatives, or to those that we represent. It means following a general plan, but asking more questions as well, seeking input, understanding the limitations we have, understanding the complexities around the issues. I feel like mayor, staff, and council, we have good momentum going on, and I'd love to be re-elected to serve you. I've been very clear about how I voted the past 4 years, what I've prioritized. Best indicator of the next 4 years' importance for me are the previous 4 years. But again, I really think we're in good hands, regardless of who we vote for, and just want to thank everyone for coming out tonight and being involved in the community.
Mr. Gibson.
Thank you. I look here, I think I counted, I know people left, come and went, but I counted 67 people here in a city of 13,000, 15,000, whatever population is. Thank you for being here. It takes a lot of effort to come. Some of you came 2 nights in a row because you wanted to see mayor and council. We appreciate you being here. There are 2 types of people in the world. There are consumers and there are producers. Producers get up every day and they try to make their community better. A lot of consumers get up and they just complain about the way it was produced. And so I appreciate all of you being producers because you took the time to be here tonight. I've served in this community as a Parks Committee member, 4 years as a City Council member. I've coached numerous high school sports. I've coached, I can't even tell you how many youth sports I've been at coaching, and many of your kids or grandkids have probably had me, at least competed against me, or coached with me. I've been here for 25 years. I'm back here again, not because of any set agenda, because I want to see what happens over the next 20 years. What decisions can be made there. 13 years as a state legislature, I keep a tally. I had over 1,700 emails I returned to people who put their name and address on it. I returned it. Over 900 texts, numerous phone calls. Build a hospital. We said, let's build a hospital. What is our theme? Our theme was greatness. Greatness comprises of 4 things: gratitude, humility, listening, and service. I try to incorporate one or all of those in most of the things that I do. I am grateful to be here. Humbled to be running for you. I will listen to you, and we're doing this because of service.
Ms. Bott.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for being here, those that are here present and those who are listening in or will listen in. It's great to be here with such amazing men and women as we sit here and put our names in as candidates for City Council. As you can tell, each of us have a passion and a love for our city and for our community and for the citizens here. I come to you with an education in human development and strategic communication, strategic planning. I bring some skills with me along with the relationships that I've built throughout my time, especially in the last 10 years working with local leaders on the state level, on the county level, and within our community. We have some great leadership that we're able to rub shoulders with and connect with and learn from. I think it's important that as we serve on a council or serve in a community, that we learn from those around us, that we communicate with the cities bordering us and the cities around us so that we learn the good and the bad, the things that we want in our community and the things that we don't want. And the biggest thing that I think is crucial is that open communication and the education of community members. Make sure that as you are preparing, ballots are going out this week, they should be in your mailboxes soon, that you are still communicating with the candidates here, that you are having that one-on-one conversation, that you're learning more about what they can bring to the table before you make that vote, to make sure that you have confidence as you're voting. And reach out to your neighbors. Make sure that your neighbors are educated. It's really important, like they were talking about. Get involved. We appreciate each of you being here. And encourage your neighbors to get involved as well. Thanks for being here.
Mr. Lake.
First, thanks to Ryan and Jason. Appreciate your time, your efforts, the city and the staff for setting this up and organizing this. I feel as a city, Mapleton has some big decisions to make in the next 4 years. My experience as a former planning commission member, as a general contractor, and my experience in architecture, my experience as a senior project manager managing large projects is great and will benefit the city extremely as a council member. To steal and borrow Casey's comment, I feel like he said it best. With growth and development, our number one priority should be public safety. So as a council member, I would love to see and improve our public safety and build on the great public safety we have. Francis also brought up infrastructure and transportation, great, important priorities for the city and things that we need to look for and plan for these next 4 years. As I said before, financial position as a city is something we need to plan for and make a key priority of the city. This is something we can't kick the can down the road. In the military, we have the 5 Ps. Proper planning prevents poor performance. Proper planning as a city will prevent Mapleton from falling into a poor performing city. I'm ready to do the work as a council member from Mapleton. I'd be honored to continue to serve as I have been for the last 15 years. I still love that Mapleton, the old timers still wave as you drive up and down the city. I still love that. I think it's a great tradition. I want to see that continue. I want to continue to wave to my neighbors, the old timers. I love Mapleton. I love this community. I'd love to continue to serve.
Ms. Silva.
Abraham Lincoln said that elections belong to the people. So now we can, the 6 of us up here can take a break and turn over the choices to you, which I think is where government is best, in the hands of the people. I hope that my responses have resonated a little bit. These people are intimidating. They're so qualified. And I agree with what's been said, that Mapleton's in good hands. I love that there's a variety of people running, because I think we need different perspectives in government. We need people from all walks of life who can come to the table and, with their differing perspectives, add value and ask questions and join the conversation. As a city councilor, I would work very hard to study issues from the point of view of the city staff, and from the residents and from the fellow councilors. I know that building bridges of understanding builds trust. On the other hand, I think we need to be very, very careful about how conflicts of interest erode trust. Certainly, there are ways to mitigate those. You can not vote for people who have conflicts, or you can make sure that you put means in place to protect from those. I value the heritage we have, and I hope that you'll vote for me and continue to improve Mapleton.
Thank you. Please join us in giving these fine folks a hand. Candidates, thank you for being here tonight and for sharing your ideas and thoughts with the public. Public, thank you for being here as well. We hope this has been informative for you all. There are tough decisions to make in the future, and paying attention and studying those issues out is important. I know all of these folks would love to hear from anyone who has follow-up questions. Thank you.
If anyone wants to meet me, I'll just go back into the room where we were before.
Yeah, you too.
Hi.
Melanie would normally want to do it with the chamber, but she's running.
Thanks, amigo.
Paco and amigo. Good, yeah. How did it feel last time? Enjoyed seeing your tractor all on hold tonight.
Camille called and asked us. Melanie would typically do it as the Chamber of Commerce. Well, I mean, we're a member, so we should do so. Camille, the city called us. We're both from Springfield. Now we both live in Maple. Oh, you live in Maple? Yeah. We both live